Sad news, everyone who was a fan of the Tootsie Sproles. I didn't get Darren in the draft this year. Welcome to No Filter, everyone. Last year, a lot of you followed along with my fantasy football team, the Tootsie Sproles, and seemed to enjoy doing that. Some of you didn't, but screw you. This video's not for you then. For those of you who did, I decided this year I would do a video letting you know who made it to my fantasy team this year. And since I didn't get Darren Sproles, I had to come up with a new team name. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my team, Return to the Mac. If only we could play the song now. So I didn't pick him first, but my Darren Sproles of this year is none other than Jeremy Maclin, because he's coming back. He's going to be super healthy, even though he just hurt his hammy the day after I picked him. I think he's going to have a fantastic season. But if he doesn't, that's okay, because with my number one pick, I chose none other than Calvin Johnson. My selling point for Calvin Johnson, I found in my research, is that he is funding a film called Real Love, which is, I'm going to read this, a coming-of-age story about a girl trying to stay true to her virginity and her religion. It's me. It's my story. He's making a movie about me. I can't not put him on my team. My receivers are the strongest part of my team, clearly, because other than the two I've already mentioned, I also have Julio Jones. The way I see it, you're coming off an injury. You rested all last season. Now we've got to go to the weaker side of things, my running backs. They're not awful. They're not great. So we've got Andre Ellington from Arizona, who I also believe is currently a little hurt. I think he tweaked a hammy as well. So maybe we're going to name the team Tweaked Hammies. And then my other starting running back is Maurice JonesDrew. What? He's going to have a fantastic... Also, I figured by putting MJD on my roster, it would give me a better chance of getting on his Sirius XM fantasy football show. He hosts a 2-hour show about fantasy football and strategy. I wonder if it's like in hour 2 that he mentions, don't draft me, I'm awful. But if we forget running backs completely, which I guess was kind of my draft strategy, we move on to my tight end position, which is fantastic because I've got Julius Thomas, who I like to refer to as the right Thomas, as in not Demaryius Thomas, but Julius Thomas, the one that Peyton should be throwing the ball to all the time, constantly. Yeah, those are my starters. The only one missing is my quarterback, Matt Ryan. Matty Ice. Fantastic. He's a fucking snooze fest. I wish I could have Jay Cutler's personality with Matt Ryan's goodness. In the defense category, you're all gonna call me a homer for this. I took New England, and I'll tell you exactly why, because strength of schedule. Their first 4 or 5 games are amazing matchups. And then, when things start to get difficult in week 7, I'll just drop them and pick up another defense and play them off matchups. That's how you win championships, people. I'll have your D next year. And then lastly, the position that nobody really cares about at all, my kicker. We got Phil Dawson. I have no words. Kick the ball correctly in between the now longer uprights. Thanks, Phil. All right, guys, so that is my team, Return to the Mac. And that means that now they're your team. So feel free to root along with me or cry along with me and Sean throughout the rest of the season. I really like the name Return to the Mac, so I'm not going to ask you for names for that. But I am in another league that drafts in a couple weeks, and I don't have a name for that team yet. So if you've got some good fantasy football team name suggestions, you can leave them in the comments below or tweet them to me with the hashtag Katie'sFantasy. Maybe I'll use them if they're good. Almost as good as my team, which is awesome. Bye.